Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Soul Current. I'm Lisa. So good to have you here. If you are new here, and this podcast is really all about helping you awaken to the life meant for you, not the life meant for someone else, not the life that other people are telling you you should live, but the life meant for you. And I want you to get there not by forcing it, not by chasing it, but by awakening to it. So we are going to talk today a little bit about manifestation, but not in the way you're used to hearing about it. This is not going to be a podcast where I give you new tools and tips and tricks and exercises and practices for how you can attract into your life all that you desire in the next month. No, we're not going to talk about it that way. Here's something I want you to understand about manifestation. Close to 40% of people across North America actively practice some form of manifestation. They believe in it and they practice it with visualizations or affirmations or vision boards, even acting as if. That's a big one. But get this, of that percentage, the failure rate stands at 90 to 95%. Now, those numbers will fluctuate depending on who's giving the study, but regardless, the truth is a vast amount of people are looking to transform their lives. A vast amount of people believe their life can be so much more than what they're currently living. And here's what I want you to know. You don't need more techniques. That's not what you need to awaken to the life meant for you. What you need is more awareness. What does that mean? We're going to talk about that. So if you're ready, let's go. I want to start by saying there is absolutely nothing wrong with manifestation. Okay, you should understand the teachings, the books, the videos, the practices, the exercises. They're not wrong. They're actually very valid, very correct. The issue is that they're being taught at what I call step 5 of the manifestation process. But most people aren't on step 5. Most people are either standing on the ground looking up the staircase, so they haven't even hit step 1, or they're standing on step 1. So if that's where people are, but they're being met at step 5, it's going to be very difficult for those people to find success. Here's what I equate jumping into manifestation books at step 5 to. Imagine you want to be a doctor. You want to be a doctor. You can feel it, but you want to skip all the foundational courses of being a doctor. You don't want to go to university and do all that fundamental stuff. You just want to go straight into medical school. And somehow you manage to get into medical school without doing that preliminary foundational work. And on day 1, the professor starts talking about the blood-brain barrier. And right away you're going, huh? Because you have no idea what that is. It's not that you're incapable. It's just you skipped the prerequisites. Manifestation is advanced material. The prerequisite is awareness. And that is what you're going to leave this episode with, an understanding of what awareness actually means. So when I say that, I don't mean overthinking. I don't mean that you're going to sit there and be like, am I hot? Am I itchy? Am I cold? Am I tired? I'm not, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean being present enough to notice what's happening inside you while it's happening. Here's an example. Can you notice a thought without becoming the thought? So let's just say you're at work, your boss calls you into the office, and he surprises you with this great opportunity. It's a job advancement, comes with all these extra perks, but it requires a move, and it excites you. It feels expansive. It feels right. But then all of a sudden, boom, up pops what ifs. What if I fail? What if I regret it? What if I leave and it doesn't work out? What if this is a mistake? Most people don't notice those things as thoughts. Instead, they become it because they take those worries, those concerns, and those fears, and they turn it into a story, right? And the story is, oh my gosh, what if I move? I lose everything. I have nothing to come back to. You've just filled yourself with an immense amount of fear, and the fear is what gets to make the decision. Your awareness is the ability to say, that's a thought. The feeling is fear, but it's not the only voice in the room. Can you notice fear without letting it drive the vehicle? If you can say, yeah, there's the thought, there's fear, but my instinct, my intuition, the whisper of my soul is that this is right for me, because that is awareness. And awareness has layers. Okay, so you become aware of your thoughts, you become aware of your emotional reactions in most times to the thoughts. You become aware of your conditioning. You can also become aware of your fears. But in addition to that, you also become aware of something quieter. Again, you might call it instinct. You might call it intuition. You might call it a gut feeling, but some people, myself included, call it the soul's whisper. It's the subtle inner knowing, doesn't scream, it just nudges and oftentimes lets you know through excitement, through flutters, through a smile that just slides across your face, an unexplained anticipation. That's that subtle inner knowing. And if you are never present, and if you don't build on the awareness, you can easily miss it. So you've probably heard the phrase at times throughout your manifestation teachings, your inner world needs to align with what you're trying to attract. That used to drive me crazy. I used to ask people also studying manifestation books and teachings, I used to say, what does that mean? What is the energy of a particular city? What is the energy of a particular job? What is the energy of that? I don't understand. What am I aligning with? And no one really could answer my question for me. And here's what I'll tell you. It doesn't mean matching the vibration of a house, a partner, a job. That's not what it means. It means that your mind, your intuition, and your connection to something bigger than you are working together instead of working against each other. Now, you can call it universal energy. You can call it higher power. I call it God. Call it collective consciousness, whatever language works for you. But when your mind, your soul, or your intuition and the universal energy or the God energy are all in alignment, that is really where manifestation happens. There is an energy that moves through life that is bigger than just your individual thinking mind. So alignment happens when your mind is not arguing with your intuition. Your fear isn't overpowering your inner knowing, and your actions match the vision that excites you. So if you have a vision of, say, living in New York, and that fills you with so much excitement, then the actions you take should match the vision that excites you. If you have if you want to move to New York and you're excited, then you might not want to move to the other side of the world, because that's taking you further away from where you want to go. The actions you take should be taking you closer to the vision that excites you. And when those things line up, mind, intuition, and higher energy, that's when something shifts. That's when you're going to start to notice opportunities that just poof, arrive. Synchronistic events. You meet someone randomly who works in, we'll say, New York City, the city you've been thinking about moving to. You hear about a job opening at the exact time you're considering applying at that location. Maybe you feel drawn to send a message, and that message that you send opens a door. These coincidences, they are not random. They are visible to you now because mind, intuition, and universal energy are aligned. When you are misaligned, those same opportunities exist. You just don't see them. You're not picking up on them. That's the difference. Let's talk about act as if for a minute. This is a big one, right? It's a big one in manifestation. Acting as if does not mean pretending. And in fact, most manifestation books will say that to you. They don't want you to pretend, even though it feels that way. So acting as if doesn't mean pretending. It also doesn't mean making reckless decisions. I'm just going to sell my house and move to New York, even though I have no idea why, how, or when, or anything else. You've done no research on it. That's a reckless decision. It also doesn't mean forcing confidence you don't feel. So if you think of pulling all your money out of your savings account to invest in something because you have this idea that if it excites me, I should do it and the universe will support me, and you know underneath all of that, there is a slight nudge that's saying, hey, that's just not right for me. But instead you choose to force confidence. No, it does feel right to me. As a result of that, you're going to get the very opposite of what you're looking for. So what does act as if mean? It means taking small, grounded steps that reflect the version of you who trusts themselves. So for example, if you want to move to a particular city, let's just keep going with this theme. Let's just say you want to move to New York, but you live in Florida. Well, what you might want to do, spend some time visualizing yourself in New York. What do you look like? How do you feel? When you have this vision of yourself in New York, how are you walking? How are you holding yourself? Get as much detail as you can. And then maybe you go to the nearest big city you're in and walk around, do the window shopping, and act as if you're in New York. Feel in that moment the way you feel when you see yourself in your vision living in New York. If you hold yourself with a sense of pride, make sure when you're walking the streets of whatever big city you're in, you're holding yourself with that same pride. These are small, grounded steps that reflect the version of you you're on your way to becoming. If you're moving toward a healthier lifestyle, acting as if might mean scheduling the workout, not overhauling your identity overnight, but schedule the workout. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm going to do it at 9, but Tuesdays and Thursdays are busier, so I'll do it at 3. Whatever, you're going to schedule it for yourself. And again, if you're moving to a new career, acting as if might mean updating your resume. It can be that one small step. Update the resume. Don't necessarily quit your job tomorrow. It's steady, it's conscious, and it requires awareness. Spending time each day envisioning what excites you, the place you're trying to get, the job you're trying to get, whatever it is, and then taking small grounded steps that help you to feel the way that version of you feels when you envision yourself where you want to be. Now, manifestation on its own, that's a newer age term. That's certainly not a term that's been used for hundreds and thousands of years. It's relatively newer, but the principle itself is not new. When your mind, when your intuition, and when your connection to something bigger than yourself are all aligned, life, my friends, just unfolds differently. Not because you forced it, not because you visualized harder, just because you stopped fighting against yourself. You're no longer contradicting your own vision. internally. So if you can envision yourself in New York and you feel excited and awesome and happy, and in that moment, everything, your soul or your intuition is like, yes. And with the universal energy, you feel this expansive part of you going, yes, this is right for me. But you open your eyes and immediately go, I don't even know how that's going to happen. How am I doing that? How am I making that happen? I don't even know where to begin. You're contradicting. So what you're looking to do is come out of it, notice the thought that comes right in that says, well, how's that going to happen? And you can kind of smile and be like, oh, there's a thought, but it's okay. I got this. And you live in the moment of that vision without allowing those contradicting thoughts to cancel out what you just experienced. When that internal resistance drops, there's flow, there's ease, there's momentum. The life you've been trying so hard to make happen just starts unfolding with less striving. And this is happening to lots and lots of people. But it can happen to so many more if we stop jumping onto the staircase in the middle and we just start from the first step. Because that's what manifestation actually is. The life you've been trying so hard to make happen starts unfolding with ease. You're going with the flow of life instead of constantly striving for something. Manifestation, if you will, it's what happens when you're aligned. So in closing, really, you don't need another vision board. You really don't need another affirmation. You do not need to try harder. You just need to become aware. Aware of your thoughts, aware of your fear, aware of your intuition, aware of the part of you that already knows. Because when you're present, when you're aligned, you don't have to force your life. Okay? You can participate in it. And that's when things begin to move. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll meet you back here again next week. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel, The Soul Current Podcast with Lisa D. Over there, we have guided meditations, guided visualizations, some journal entry suggestions, daily exercises you can use to help keep you on track and see you through the movements and experiences you're going through. That's The Soul Current Podcast with Lisa D on YouTube. Thanks for listening.